All right, let's just jump right into it. Welcome to this explainer. You know, we love decoding the most complex, fascinating tech topics by going straight to the source data. And today, today we are breaking down a massive tectonic shift in enterprise AI semantics. This whole thing was sparked literally just 2 weeks ago at Google Cloud Next 26. So if you've been wondering how the biggest tech giants out there are planning to give actual true meaning to AI agents, well, you are definitely in the right place. Let's get started.
So here is our game plan for today. We're going to kick things off with a semantic layer race, take a look at what Google actually built, compare the strengths and lock-ins of the big players, reveal the missing enforcement layer everyone seems to be ignoring, and wrap up with a solid decision framework for your team.
Now, I absolutely love this quote right here from our source material. It perfectly sets up the incredibly high stakes we're looking at. Right now, the market is locked in this fierce three-way race to own the semantic layer. And why does that matter? Well, think about it. Without a semantic layer, an enterprise AI agent just sees raw, dumb data. But with it, the agent suddenly understands actual business meaning, context, and rules. It's a total game changer.
Okay, part 1, the semantic layer race.
So, for a long time, Palantir had this massive, decade-long lead in this space with their Foundry platform. They were the undisputed king. Then, recently, Microsoft threw its hat into the ring with Fabric IQ, turning it into a pretty competitive two-player market. But then, Google crashed the party at Cloud Next 26. Overnight, their massive announcement turned a stable competition into a highly volatile three-way race. It completely flipped the script for enterprise architects.
Which brings us to part 2, what Google actually built. The sheer scope of Google's new knowledge catalog is honestly fascinating. We're not talking about some passive, boring metadata registry anymore. No, this is an active, AI-powered context engine. It uses Gemini to automatically extract semantics right out of your data. It builds these dynamic context graphs across BigQuery and Cloud SQL, it federates with third-party SaaSes like Salesforce and SAP, and it securely exposes all this context using Model Context Protocol, or MCP tools. And get a load of that last point, a LookML agent that actually reads your strategy documents and autonomously generates business-ready semantics. Like, no way. And this isn't just some shiny tech demo. Bloomberg Media has already launched a live production deployment using this exact catalog.
Complementing that knowledge catalog is their Enterprise Knowledge Graph, or EKG. And this is where you see Google flexing its muscles. It handles entity resolution at a scale that nobody else can even touch. It converts relational data into standardized formats, scaling up to literally billions of nodes and trillions of edges, and it even assigns stable machine IDs, which, by the way, is the exact same identifier system running under the hood of Google Search. It's an incredibly powerful open standard foundation for your data.
All right, moving on to part 3, strengths and lock-ins. The absolutely crucial thing here is understanding exactly how these vendors trap you. Google's lock-in is what we'd call gravitational. Your data is in BigQuery, your semantics are generated there, your agents query there. Technically, you could leave, but the whole ecosystem exerts this massive gravitational pull to keep you there because it's just so cozy and optimized. Palantir, on the other hand, their lock-in is structural. Your business rules get deeply encoded into their proprietary formats and, get this, there is zero export function. It effectively creates an economic hostage situation if you ever try to pack up and leave.
And then we have Microsoft. Their Fabric IQ platform presents more of a technical lock-in. Because of limitations with their direct lake format, only a very specific subset of your existing data estate can easily participate in their semantic layer out of the box. If you want the rest of your data to play along, you're looking at a massive, incredibly expensive restructuring effort.
Okay, part 4, the missing enforcement layer. This is the big twist.
So this is the multi-million-dollar question right here. Google, Microsoft, Palantir, they have all brilliantly solved the retrieval side of the semantic layer. They can fetch the meaning. But what is the crucial checkpoint they are all completely missing? Let's take a look at the data.
Okay, you can see right away that Google is taking the lead when it comes to open standards like RDF and A2A, which is agent-to-agent coordination. But look closely at the second and third rows for OWL and SHACL. Red X, red X, red X, all the way across. Not a single one of these massive platforms supports them. The formal reasoning and enforcement layers are literally completely absent from all three. And why do those red X's matter? Because of this dynamic right here. All three platforms govern incredibly well internally. Palantir, for example, is world-class at making sure agents follow the rules inside of Foundry. But the absolute second an AI agent needs to communicate across a platform boundary, say a Palantir agent trying to talk to a Snowflake agent, the governance chain completely breaks down. It just shatters. It's a massive cross-platform gap.
And that, my friends, is exactly what OWL and SHACL are designed to solve. They act as this vendor-neutral semantic foundation. They enforce formal, absolute constraints. You see, without this formal reasoning layer, your LLM might know a rule, but it isn't mathematically constrained to actually follow it. This OWL/SHACL layer is exactly the thing that prevents a rogue agent from making some crazy $340,000 compliance mistake or blocks privilege escalation where an agent suddenly gets its hands on data it shouldn't have during a platform handoff.
Which brings us to our final section, your decision framework.
So when should a CTO actually choose Google? Well, you want to go with Google's Knowledge Catalog if your data estate is already heavily rooted in Google Cloud. It's also absolutely the best choice if your team doesn't have dedicated ontology engineers sitting around, because that Gemini-driven auto-generation is just incredibly powerful. And finally, if you need to reconcile entities across 50 different source systems at literal Google search scale, Google is your winner, hands down.
Now you should lean into Microsoft Fabric IQ if your enterprise is already super invested in mature Power BI semantic models in the direct lake format. Fabric IQ also gives you the most sophisticated out-of-the-box agent permission model for operational use cases. If you just want the lowest friction route from standard business intelligence straight into AI agent grounding, Microsoft provides a really natural evolution for that.
And finally, Palantir AIP. This is the heavy hitter for a very specific use case. You pick Palantir if your AI agents need to actually write back to operational systems, not just read from them. If you're in a highly regulated industry like government or defense, and you absolutely need battle-tested governance with dual approval chains, Palantir is unmatched. But you've got to be prepared to absorb the 10 to 50 times compute cost scaling at enterprise depth. It is not cheap.
But listen, here is the absolute most important takeaway from this entire explainer. Honestly, if you only remember one thing, make it this. It doesn't matter which vendor wins your contract, whether you pick Google, Microsoft, or Palantir. You absolutely must independently build your own vendor-neutral OWL portability layer. It is literally the only way to guarantee your exit strategy, enforce cross-platform security, and ensure your agents don't make contextually catastrophic decisions when they step outside their home platform.
So, to summarize our blueprint today, here is the complete 5-layer semantic stack you need to take back to your engineering teams. You need Model Context Protocol, or MCP, for schema resilience. You need an agentic mesh for multi-agent coordination. You need that vital OWL layer for cross-platform portability. You need SHACL-gated routing for security, and finally an ontology firewall for unstructured data validation. If you build this stack, you are protected. Which brings us to our final thought. The big tech platforms are racing to own the retrieval layer, but at the end of the day, they're just adapters. The formal enforcement layer, the true ontology, has to be yours. It has to be built independently. So, are you ready to build it? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this completely changed how you view the enterprise semantic race. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.